Are we filming? Yes, we are. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, today I want to share with you, at long last, let me just adjust the exposure. There we go, sorted. I want to share with you how I handle my tasks using my filo-fax, but because this is a hybrid system, digital as well, I need to explain how filo-fax work with digital and vice versa. So, as you may know, I've already explained how my Someday Maybe list is no longer a list. I just arbitrarily add those items to my electronic diary, so they pop up from time to time, and I can set them so they pop up every month or every week or every 27 days or whatever I decide, or I can have single entries where I have to decide on it or move it to another date. But I do both. I have recurring things and I have one-off things where I can either do something or arbitrarily move the date again. So this system does not encompass my Someday Maybe list. So I just wanted to make that clear. So let me give you a bit of background about this. I have been using paper-based lists for over 50 years, and I have dabbled in electronic lists, certainly in the 90s and the early noughties, but I have been using a filo-fax every day for 29 years. So I'm obviously a fan of filo-faxes, and I guess you are too, because you're watching this. But I want to talk about how I have dallied with GTD over the years, because I have used various iterations of GTD, which stands for Getting Things Done. You can look up GTD and its creator of the system, David Allen. And I have found it useful over the years, but because I retired 9 years ago now, and so my responsibilities are not what they were, and so I'm no longer juggling so many balls in the air, and so I have developed a simpler system. In fact, before I started this video, I had a look. I've got 110 tasks at the moment, which in the grand scheme of things is not very many. Some of them are recurring tasks. This is not the Someday Maybe. This is tasks that I have to do. Some of them are recurring tasks, like read the gas meter and the electricity meter every month. Others are renew car insurance once a year. Other things are more immediate, like tomorrow I've got to pick up another filo-fax that I bought. So it's a mixture of tasks, same as everybody else in life. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't have very many. I only have about 110. And so whether this system is good for you, I guess that's down to you. But I'm just saying how it is for me. So I have a history of dabbling with digital and paper-based systems, and the one that has kind of evolved, particularly since retirement, is largely paper-based, but it has an element of it is tinged with an element of digital. So let me explain. But before I do, what I want to do is, and this is just purely an exercise in what I require for a system to work for me, and I thought it would be interesting and hopefully useful to break it down into nine different requirements. So, number one, tactile satisfaction. Now, what I mean by that is, particularly with the paper-based side of things, you need whether it be a Moleskine notebook or a filofax like I use, you need to be able to enjoy using it. So for me, that means my everyday carry is a Guildford Mini Extra Slim, fits in my pocket, works very well. I can easily fit a pencil down through the rings, but it works. This is perfect for me. Okay, and then for my actual task manager, the main bulk of what I'm doing goes in a filofax Sherwood. Most of you know that I'm a big fan of these filofax Sherwoods. They're really, really nice, and they have a special quality of, they're English made. They were made towards the very end of British, the era of British manufacture. They are fantastic quality, and crucially for this purpose, this task management purpose, they open flat. Other people's mileage will vary, but for me, the ability of a filofax to open flat and stay flat is important, and also the quality of the leather, the way it smells, the way it handles, even to the point of the tabs you use, the paper you use, the positioning of the paper. For instance, in my particular case, I've taken all my personal tasks out just for the purposes of the video, but on this side you've got spare paper, this side spare paper, and this represents the task management bit. And I like that because first of all, it's easy to write if what you're writing on isn't at the very beginning or the very back of a filofax, and also because there's a certain tactile quality of a filofax that has a certain amount of paper sheets in there. It just has some heft, and I like that. So it's all down to what pen you like. I prefer a very cheap Pilot G2. It is important. It is important, I believe, to have a system where the actual components that you handle, whether it be like for instance, rather than a mouse, I prefer a Microsoft. Even though I'm iMac based, I prefer the original Microsoft trackball, and mine one is a quarter of a century old now, but I love it far better than a mouse. Other people prefer a mouse. I like a certain kind of keyboard. I like a certain type of filofax. I like a certain kind of EDC. I like a certain kind of pen. I like a certain kind of mobile phone. So that's what I mean by the tactile satisfaction of your system. So next, one-handed operation. Well, I've covered that a little bit, but basically I believe that it's certainly important for me to be able to use a filofax one-handed, so that then I can be writing in this one, and I can be looking at something else, or I can be using the trackball or my mobile phone to analyse or look or search through data So I can multitask, aided and facilitated by the fact that my filofax can be used one-handed. Number 3, it must be able to handle shorter tasks and projects. Now, a project is a task with more than one element, if you like. And so this system I have facilitates that because specifically I can have a one-off task, and I write it on a single page, and I do not have more than one task on a page, so that once the task is complete, rather than cross things off, I can just draw the line through the task, and then I can reuse this piece of paper for another task and another task and another task, so no paper is wasted. Excuse me. But if it's a project, I can effectively use all the paper and eventually have a chronological list of events, which I can then add to by adding another and another and another if necessary, and then those sheets can all go. They can all be archived in my filing cabinet if I'm not specifically tackling that task over the next 7 days. I can hide it away, store it away, and get on with other stuff. So my system, by virtue of the fact that I don't have a list of tasks on one page, I just have one page per task. I can do that, and it works very, very well. The system must be expandable. And what I mean by that is, if you have hundreds of projects, hundreds of tasks, you can extend this over to a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth filofax. That's probably overkill, but the advantage, as we know, with filofaxes is that you can expand the system, and whether that means switching from a slimline filofax to one with 30mm rings, or whether or not you expand by having an additional filofax and then a third, a fourth, or fifth. For filofax users, certainly have an expandable system is part of the deal. It must be archivable, and by that I mean you can remove sheets once you have finished your task, or indeed if a project is dormant for a while, then you can archive it away, and for me that means a filing cabinet. No problem at all. Number 6, minimal hand movements. I'll give you an example of that. If you look at my tabs here, I've got one marked later, today, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Now, the reason I've got a slightly bigger tab here is because it is the most common tab I turn over, and so I have it here rather than up here. And also I have it here because it doesn't risk it. I'm just trying to explain what I mean here. Let me think about this. Certainly there is slightly more effort in turning over this page than there is this page, and so because the Today tab is the one that I turn over most frequently, that is where that is. And there are other considerations as well, but in terms of hand movements, it can make a considerable difference in time and tactile satisfaction if you arrange your filofax so that it works super smoothly. And that can there are all sorts of factors to consider. Desk space, a clear desk, and what you use as your phone or EDC, and lots of different factors. But if you're finding that you're having to not, if there's a way of, if you feel that your system isn't working because of the sheer volume of turning things over, and I'm not really explaining myself very well, but you get the picture. It's got to be easy in terms of minimal hand movements. Okay, so bridging the analog and digital divides. Now, what I mean by that is my dual system at the moment, say, if I could show you my task for today, there's about 10 in the iOS calendar app for today, and there are 5 or 6 in paper formats under the Today tab. So that's a handful, 15, 16 tasks, and some of them in here, some of them in digital. I don't have a problem with that, because if it's added in paper format, then I'm happy with it being in paper format. If it's added to my calendar, it can just as easily stay there. I actually prefer to have recurring tasks in my digital calendar, and I like to have projects in my paper-based system, but they are interchangeable. So if a task becomes a project, then it can potentially live in the digital world. I prefer it not to. So if it does become a project, I tend to change it to paper-based, but it could potentially work that way. So I am certainly comfortable with one foot in the digital world, and one foot in the what I call the real paper-based world. So if you can do that, then this system can work very, very well for you. Number 8, it must be portable. And by that, I mean, even to the... sure, you can put all these things in a backpack. You can put your phone and your filofax and your laptop in a backpack, and that's portable. But portable from a point of view, what's more important is portability from location to location within your house. So I work with a personal sized binder rather than an A5 or an A4, simply because I write at an angle, and so that the distance between here and here and here is actually larger than here to here for me. So I write, I'm left-handed, and I write at a slight angle like this for me. And so if I had an A5, we're talking about a diagonal distance here, which takes up far more space. But whatever you do, you need to have a system that is small enough to be accommodated by whatever space you have. So I will use this here in my office stroke studio, but I like to use it on the kitchen table or the coffee table when I'm having a coffee. And you need to be aware of, not be aware, but whatever's comfortable for you. Although it's nice to have extra real estate in terms of paper, there are limits. So for me, personal size works very, very well. And finally, must be able to run on autopilot. Now, what I mean by that is we all have good days and bad days, and we can be tired. I'm filming this at 4 a.m, and so I'm a little bit on the tired side. But you must be comfortable and happy with a system that doesn't require you to spend more time figuring out the system than getting the tasks done. It's really, really important, in my opinion. And so for me, this is a really, really simple system, which I'm going to explain to you in terms of the methodology. So, as you've noticed, I have 9 sections. 7 of them are the days of the week, and then I have one marked today and one marked later. So, what goes in today? Well, that's self-explanatory. So I will have a task when they. It's a rotating system, so that you don't have to do any dates if you don't have to. And the reason why I have a system that only caters for 7 days is because it encourages me to not procrastinate too much, not to put things off more than 7 days. Why is it 7 days rather than why is it today and then 7 days rather than today and then 6 days? It's because if you are doing something today and you decide you're going to not do it today after all and you're going to do it next week, then you need to have the 7th tab. So in this particular case, the tab at the top in this example is Monday. The tab at the bottom is Sunday, and so today would, in this particular scenario, would also be Sunday, represent Sunday, so that if you had a task that you decided to postpone for a week, you would take it out of the today section, put it in the Sunday section. You wouldn't have to write any dates, but effectively that task would rise to the top in exactly 7 days' time. How do these tasks rise to the top? Well, what you do is you've got all these tasks for the day. So we're talking about, in this case, we've just got 2 tasks for today in this example. So once you had done them, I would, well, let's do this. So I'm just going to write task 1. Bit of a waste of paper, but I will use this. And then I've got task 2. Okay, so you've got these 2 tasks, and you've completed them. So what you do, I just draw a line through them, and then this becomes that those tasks are completed, and I will then use that as spare paper in the fullness of time. So I've completed all the tasks for today. So what I do, either in the evening or first thing in the morning, is I will then take this, I'm a little bit tired here. It should be on autopilot, shouldn't I? So this is Sunday, okay? And then I will then remove the tab that says Monday. So effectively we are now at Monday, and the task for Monday, Monday has arrived, and so we've got all these tabs, these tasks, and then after Sunday, I put Monday at the back, and I effectively do that once a day. So we're now on the Monday, and we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks for Monday. Let's say we've done all those tasks, take those out, so that becomes spare paper, and so the following day will be Tuesday. So we take the Tuesday tab, open it, and then we go after Monday, get to the last position, and then there. So effectively, you are rotating these tasks purely because the tabs are denoting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so if for any reason, let's say this task, you look at it and think, well, actually, I can't really do that for a month. So what you can do is you can put this in the section marked later, and you can indeed later go through these tasks, and what you can do is then what I do is that any tasks that are in the later category, the later section, I would have to let's call this task 3. So I would put a date here. So okay, so let's say a month's time. So we're looking at, say, 3rd of Jan. So I'll just make a note of that as I add it to the later section. 3rd of Jan. Okay, so I can forget about that task, but at the end of the day, and I do this once a day, I can look at that task and say, all right, so I haven't done that. I am going to then add it electronic to my calendar, my Apple calendar, for the 3rd of January. And what I also do is, if there are any items that are 7 days away on the calendar, it's a two-way street. I can either leave those in the calendar if it's just a short task, or if I want to add it, if I want to transition it to my paper-based calendar, I can go, okay, so that task in 7 days' time, I need to bring it into my paper-based system, and I can literally take a page and create a paper-based task, which is particularly useful if this becomes a chronological list of events that I can archive in my filing cabinet. So there is some toing and froing, but it's a very, very easy system, and it encourages me to, as far as possible, not let things be deferred for more than 7 days. With the exception of birthdays and a few things like that, I had a look. As far as I can tell, there's only 23 things on my calendar, my electronic calendar, that are for more than 7 days hence. So it's not a lot, and so it's not really worth my while having. If you imagine this is a diary and a day to a page, it would take up more than that amount of paper, and so that's a bit overkill for items that are when there's only in my case around about just over 20 items. And also there is obviously the other advantage of digital systems, where if you're not sure that you've got an entry somewhere, you can just search for that by keyword, and then it will show you all the recurrences of that thing. So for instance, if you put doctor, if you type into an electronic calendar doctor, it will come up with a whole list of all your appointments, both in that are yet to come and indeed you've had. Now that would be impossible it'll be very, very long-winded in a paper-based diary. So there are advantages, but from a point of view of working on tasks, I very, very much like, and it works for me. I've been doing it for a few months now. I love having just a 7-day task manager, if you like, with items for today and then items for later. So there's an element of things going in and out, but not many things have to come in or out because there's not many items stuck in the electronic digital iOS calendar for me to worry about. They are there, but there's not many of them. The bulk of my tasks, I think about them, I process them and complete them within a 7-day rotating week. And for me that really, really works. Really works very, very well. And the beauty of it is I don't have to the way my brain processes when I'm working on things, I'm not thinking, well, what day of the month is that? I'm thinking in terms of calendar days. So if it's Sunday today, I'm thinking 2 days' time will be Tuesday. So I don't think, what date is that? I mean, unless it's unless I'm having to conform to somebody else's expectations in terms of their interpretation of the situation and their reference to a date. So I will see you on 6th of April. Then I'm fine with the days of the week rather than specifically days of the month in terms of numerics. So for me, it works very, very efficiently, not only in terms of hand movements, but also the fact that it's very, very minimalist in format. And also there's another thing. Now, with traditional GTD, one of the most important aspects of GTD is the weekly review. Now, I don't do a weekly review because I'm effectively doing a mini review 2 or 3 times a day, maybe 4 times a day, just by having a coffee and then flicking through the tasks that I have. So there'll be 110 tasks, and I'll just look through the things I've got to do today. Okay, so I'm still on track for today, and then I go to the next day and look at stuff for the next day and so on. And I'm just at this sort of speed, so I'm getting an overview of what's going on over the next few days, and it works for me. Have I got a thing written in the right order? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yep, that's okay. But I find that when I was doing GTD, the weekly review was a bit of a faff, as they say in the UK, a bit of a faff. Whereas doing a 5-minute review of all my tasks in chronological order, 3 or 4 times a day, so we're looking at maybe, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an hour a day, something like that. I am crystal clear with what I have to do and when I have to do it, and for me that works really, really well. And I have in my mind, I have a clear picture of what I'm doing all the time, which is just as well. Otherwise, I'd forget. And it's purely through this system I have of a rotating 7-day cycle, with an option to postpone things. And assimilate, transfer them to my electronic diary at the end of the day if necessary. But that's very rare because I like to get things done within the next 7 days. If I can do everything done within the next 7 days, then there's no need to have anything in the what I call the later category. And it really has boosted my ability to avoid procrastination. And there's another thing I really like about this system, especially, I mean, I like it all, but being able to, because every task is written on a single page, it's like a deck of cards. I can post them out on my kitchen table, have a coffee, and say, right, well, actually, I need to do that there and that there, and there is a certain tactile quality with being able to do that, which obviously is much more difficult visually and practically if you just have a list of things that you need to reorder, and so you rewrite the list and then write it again, etc., or write out another list. So I'm very happy with the system, and it all fits in one, at least for me anyway, because I'm not doing as much as I used to, one single filofax. So we have the task manager, which is a filofax Sherwood, a mobile phone, an EDC for jotting down things out when I'm out and about, and that works absolutely fine. And I'm sharing it with you because I just want to let you guys know that it's a very simple system, and if you get any benefit from this, then let me know. But until next time,